Hi there, this is Mark Payne. I'm the chairman of the BRCA 12 scale radio control car section, and I wanted to take you through the new class that we introduced and was voted through at the 2025 AGM, which is LMGT3 cars. Let's explain why this would be a great class for clubs to be running all over the UK. The LMGT3 is a GT style body inspired by the LMGT3 class, which is the GT style Le Mans car. A little bit different to what we're used to seeing with the LMP cars. Obviously developed over the years and highly developed, probably one of the fastest forms of indoor RC racing, but quite difficult and fast animals to drive and prepare, sometimes too specialized to be running at club level. So the objective of LMGT3 is to give a much lower cost of entry car to buy and prepare, and also you don't need to feed it so many tires, and it's much easier to drive at the kind of grip levels that you'll see at the typical RC club. So what is it? Well, in essence it is an LMP chassis. It's the same chassis that we run with LMP cars. You could also use a GT12 chassis. In the UK we have the GT12 class, absolutely fine to use that as well. But one of the nice things about this, LMP cars are much more readily available than the GT12 class. You can also find a lot of them second hand as the top end racers move on to the next thing that they just believe they need to have. So chassis are very readily available. Schumacher, Automatics, CRC, X-Ray to name a few. And within LMGT3 we have no particular construction rules other than the standard construction rules that exist for the LMP class. So we're using the wider rear tyres as seen on LMP, the full width 172 maximum, same width on the front end, and a very recognisable type of chassis. So what's the point? How is this different to an LMP car? Well, the major difference is the electronics. So traditionally, if I go back over the history of LMP, when I first started back in the day, 1978, we were using 6-cell NiCad packs. Now, over a period of time, the batteries got better and better and the motors got faster and faster. And so the way in which this was dealt with is we reduced ourselves down from 6-cell NiCads down into a 4-cell pack. So when lipos came out and we had to move over from the 4-cell NiCad packs into the world of lipos, unlike the larger 10th scale cars, we couldn't use this kind of 2S 7.4 volt lipos. We opted for 1S. That meant that we had to use speed controls with boosters or a separate battery pack to power the radio gear. But later on in the kind of development of this class, we had specialized 1S speedos that would run the car, run the electronics of the car without any need for boosters or additional battery pack. Even in the stock class, we run a 13.5 turn motor. The modified guys are running open modified or 6.5 turn motors. The cars are incredibly fast and the current requirements are very, very high because the voltage is low. So we have quite specialist and quite expensive speedos. It's unlikely that you have this kind of electronics kicking around if you've got an outdoor bashing car, or you've got a buggy, or you've got a 10th scale touring car. You're going to have to buy electronics for it. With LMGT3, what we're doing is this is a 2S pack. I know it looks the same size, but it's a 2S shorty pack, and so higher voltage. This means that there are way more speedos available to us at a much lower price point. You can buy these speedos from around 50 quid. The cell is about 30-40 pounds, and you've got yourself something that you can run straight out of the box. Because the voltage has come up, we've had to take the motor power right down. So this is now a 25.5 turn fixed time motor. Okay, so this electronics package is the same kind of thing that would be used in the very popular mini class. So if you wanted to get into LMGT3, you could just take the electronics out of your mini car, bang it straight in. The next thing that's different about this class is the use of a control tyre. We're really encouraging clubs to use control tyres. So the point of a control tyre is it's a much harder compound than we would use in the LMP cars. The grip levels that we get from this is totally appropriate to the power that's being developed by the motor and speed controller package. The cars feel really nice and balanced to drive. Now with a harder tyre, and everybody's running the same tyre, it means that you can go up to slightly larger diameters, and I'm starting at 43mm on the rear, 43mm on the front. And in fact, the current provider of our control tyre, which is the Contact, this purple striped Contact tyre, they're making them 43mm in the box, so you can take them out of the box, put them straight on the car, and there's no need to have a tyre treader. To begin with, maybe you would want some stagger where the front tyre is just slightly smaller than the rear, but you run this car for a meeting and you're going to find that that's going to happen quite naturally, because the fronts wear at about 0.2 of a millimetre per run. On the back we're only wearing at 0.1 of a millimetre per run, so you get loads of runs out of the tyres. So this is the point of the class: a powertrain which is drivable and a control tyre which is affordable, based on a chassis which is readily available, either new or second hand. End result is a LMGT car that you can take to your local club with appropriate levels of grip. They're fun to drive and it's really, really competitive.